Should be live. Okay, unusual. That says offline. There we go. That seems to be live. Okay, that seems to be a bit easier. Hello everyone, it's Matt here, and normally at this sort of point I'd be at Liberty Bricks. Unfortunately, I was struck down with some sort of stomach bug yesterday, so fortunately couldn't go. So instead I've been doing some work on my models, and that's something I'll just show you just now. So we've got two models here, which I'm going to show you, and these have been worked on extensively yesterday and earlier today to get them to a more up-to-date level. So the first one is going to be the lug box car. So here it is. This is a PS1 model designed by Brick Model Railroader, and there are a few bits I could tweak on this, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. There's not much left to do, and in actual fact, as far as I'm concerned, there's only two bits that need replacing anyway. So we've got the big Brick Central Railroad logo and this sort of strapline here, the proudly serving the Midlands and beyond, and they were both printed by Brick Sanity, and then all the sort of like the number and the way car data, and that's across both sides. That was all done by OKBrickworks, and then the bits that need swapping out are actually on this corner of the car. These two handrail pieces, they should be in blue and they're actually in green, and that's because I actually ran out of blue. I like the Pensy box car I'd done, they were just too short. The underframe's now done as well, so we've got all the brake rigging, all the handrails are on, so I was missing some from the blue there, and the bits here we're missing the sort of bottom rod flex tube to get that step complete. I'll just fold that one back down. So these are now complete now, as far as I'm concerned. The only thing really to swap would be the brake wheel for a white one, if ever Lego did one. I don't think they've actually done one in white. I think they've only done one in grey. But yep, that's pretty much finished in terms of modelling. I'll take out the other PS1 because this is again a model which is complete almost. The body is certainly complete, and actually in fact I built this model before the Brick Central, the lug one. So this is the one I actually decaled first because it was sort of like I wanted to save the proper details for the Brick Central lug one. So there's a few things I can swap. Obviously I discussed some of this in the previous video, but I did on the BMR car update. But as you can see, the 6x8 plate is the wrong colour, and that's for both doors. Now it's essentially just a quick get out to actually make the doors. The ends on the BMR decal sheet and on their website were black. I've modelled mine in reddish brown. I think black may have been how they were done to start with, or maybe later, I'm not entirely too sure. There's quite a lot of different livery differentiations between the models. The ends as well, that should be a 1x3 tile held in with some double-sided sticky tape, and it's actually a 1x2 jumper tile or jumper plate, depending on which you'd like to call it. And I think that's pretty much all the problems. The only other problems are the bogies. They got all the underframe detail. I actually pinched monopods and U-clips from the tank car kit to finish the underframe off this one. So this one again has got a complete underframe. and the bogey the only thing wrong. The reason why I haven't done the bogies is I've actually run out of the 1x1 clips horizontal. So this is a 1x2 with the clips. I actually just need the 1x1 variant, and I've actually run out of those even in the wrong colours. I've actually used, if I show you this one, a gold one there, and then a dark bluish grey one there on that bogey, literally because I'm that short. The only other thing aside from the bogies in terms of actual bodywork that needs swapping are, if I move that correctly, these bits for the boxcar door rail. They should be in reddish brown, they're actually in black. So the tiles are the big issue. I can swap those out fairly easily, to be honest, because they're only held in by just a little few bits on the roof. I can swap them over, put the numbering decals on, and then this car is effectively complete sans the bogies, which are fairly easy to do, to be honest. The bogies themselves, I'll just quickly pop this one off. I've actually run out of parts for the bogies as well. This is kind of it gets worse and worse, believe me. I've actually run out of the 1x4 plates, so you can sort of see the reddish brown one there. That should be black. The turntable as well, that should be like have a black base, because I've had to use a white one just to get it there effectively. So it's a shame, but at least it's a fairly complete model. I'll just put this back. And the only other thing I've been doing in terms of modelling has been the Pell Power Company hoppers. So I've got one, and it's actually pretty much complete now. The bogies still need doing, which is a fairly common thing with me. The bogies need to be finished off. Still haven't done the end support poles. Still need to do those. Still need to do a few swap outs. But I have swapped out all the underframe now, so some of you may have seen the photo where this was all yellow. That's been changed around to the correct red. I've neatened up a few other bits and pieces on the model. I've done all the roof the tiling on the top of the car body, so that's all now that nice red colour. So the only thing left for this model to be complete are the pipeworks for the brake, because I don't have those on either bogie, and just some part swap outs for the ends for these support stanchions on both ends, and then just some flex tube for the end supports, and then also for the end support rods that fit in sort of here. So if I turn that way, you can sort of see that there's a little 1x1 brick with a hole in. That should have a piece of flex tube to support that bit of the hopper, which is not there at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's the only thing that's missing effectively from this model. At the end, I've actually used a sort of like a umbrella pole instead of the correct with the flex tube. So again, that's something else that'll need to be changed, but that's just sort of like this is how it will look like sort of thing. I've actually been using 3L bars where it's been called for rather than flex tube, partly to save on flex tube, you know, it just makes things a bit easier, and partly to, you know, make it a bit easier for me instead of having to cut flex tube for 3L. I can just use 3L bar, and it's the same for 4L. The boxcar I think called for 2 4L bars for the underframe. For the brake rigging, again I've just used 4L bar, so just save some parts, you know, makes it a lot easier. So I put that down. Now, one of the aspects, tools, be useful, that some people may have seen or may have commented on is the hoppers. Some of you may be a bit confused, and I'll just see if I can find a picture. There'll be that one, and then that one, and if I go to this one. Okay, and I'll just see if I can do it. So if I go to this one and change this to photos, does this work? No. Okay, so if I change this to here, I'll just change screens now, and if I bring this up, there we go. So if I take out my webcam for a second, this, and actually I'll do monitor the game capture, it's a lot easier. This is the sort of schematic for the Power Company hopper, and the bit I'm going to show you is sort of like, you see these decals, and they're actually spanning car body sections, and that can be a bit hard to do, and there's a really easy way to get around that sort of issue, and it's a fairly easy thing to do. So go back to webcam and, well, full cam. That's actually just to put them together on a 2x8 plate. So these are the last bits you add to the model anyway, or almost the last bits. So it's fairly easy just to do it like that. And then obviously I have the decal sheet from OKBrickworks. I've actually already cut this off camera, so I'll just go and get the camera because it needs a little bit more pouring. And the browning knife is coming really useful for this. It's quite a nice sharp blade, so it's been able to get into quite a lot of places and cut it really finely. And it's been able to get a few bits where regular craft knives haven't really got quite as much stamina, I'd like to say, as possible. So obviously if you're cutting some of the decals shorter, you may sort of have these sort of like little bits that come off. So if I do this carefully, you sort of see where on this model, or decaling, I see, but you got this little strip that comes off. Again, you try and, with some decals, and especially these, you'll want to try and get your decals cutting as close as possible to the actual bit you need. Partly so you're not having to pull extra stuff off, but also so that it's a lot easier to manipulate it, because obviously all that extra sticker sheet and backing sheet and what have you will actually cause problems. So here is the decal sheet. I've just got it in some tweezers, and we have the plate here, and all I'm going to do is gently align this with the bottom of the hopper and make sure it is straight and within the tile, because that's the other issue. We don't want it spanning tiles because this is supposed to go between them. And just like that, I put it on. And then the reason I'm using one of these knives is because it's got this nice curved end. I can apply a nice bit of pressure. I can do it this way and get that nice flat edge, and that will apply a lot of pressure to a big area, and I can actually do that both ways. And it's better off working from the middle of the decal to the outside. There's a good reason for that, and that you try and want to move over bubbles away, and again you also want to move it up and down. Now with decals like this, because it's such a fine print and you may run the risk of air bubbles with that print, that's why I've gone for one of these as well, because it's got that nice curved blade, and you can just gently go over that text to ensure all those air bubbles are rubbed out, and it just gives a nice firm rub. Okay, and we can just go over the zeros a bit more. The zeros sometimes seem to want to stick up, so, and do a final run over to ensure that it's all stuck down. And then now that that's been done, I can take my tweezers and gently peel off the backing sheet, and there you have it, the decal's on. And I actually need to do this step for 2 times per side for these 3 sets of decals. So again, I'm going to pull off the next one, and the reason why I'm working from the middle outwards is because the middle decal has the most text on it. So it makes sense to base it off the biggest one. So again, I have my decal in hand, and unlike the previous time when I aligned it with the bottom, I'm actually going to invert it and actually work this way. And the reason for that is that I want to align the tops of the decals now, and I want to make sure I get it roughly in line, but I don't have to go quite to the edge with this one. It's not such a big decal. So after a bit of alignment, there we go, and I can take my knife now and just gently rub the decal down. Again, working both ways with the decal and then also vertically as well, just to ensure we get rid of all the air bubbles and ensure proper adhesion between the decal and the plastic. So we just push that down really gently. These will take a bit of a beating, but obviously you don't want to put too much damage on, because then you could damage the transfer. So enough force to ensure it sticks on, but not too much to cause damage. And it is a bit of a fine art doing this. This isn't my first rodeo, so to speak. So, and then as usual, so just to the off, gently tease a corner off, and then just gently pull it off like that. And there we go. So we have 2 out of the 3 done. And I'm now going to pull off the third one. Let's search for a corner. Actual fact, I might take a craft knife bit. Yeah, I'm going to take a knife to this a bit more, just to thin out the decal as much as possible. Okay, so I've got the decal again. So got the decal, and I'm actually going to align this one. I'm actually going to align it similar to the middle one actually, but I'm actually going to align it again with the other one, with the capacity and weight one at the top. And this one does need to go really to the outsides because of the age on it. So roughly there. That's actually crooked. So it is a bit of a fine art. And you do need to be really careful. Okay. A couple of dots to ensure it goes in, and then take the knife and start ensuring it adheres to the plastic. Again, just ensuring that it goes on like that, so you can sort of, I'm not sure how well this is going to come on camera. But there you can sort of see the pale outline there, and that is actually where the backing sheet is, or the transfer sheet, depending on which one you use. And then I can just take my tweezers and just gently peel that off. And if there are any issues, I could always reapply this back on and then run the knife over it again to ensure that's done. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've had the next 3 done. So that's those 3 done, and then I can do the same trick again with the weight information. So I'm actually going to pop these off. So I now have these loose, so I can take these off and put them on a hopper should I wish to. I don't need to at this very moment, so I'll now take another 2, and these can actually go in the middle. And doing it like this just makes it a lot easier to handle and that sort of stuff. So obviously I've got these tiles, and obviously I want to do a quick rub on them. It's always important that you rub the area down first, not to make it nice and shiny. It's just so you get rid of some of the dirt and dust, and a quick blow as well, because sometimes if you're rubbing it over you might leave a few fibre deposits or something like that behind. So this side is the weight data, so I'm just going to cut these decals on the sheet using the knife off camera. And I'm just running this again to ensure that I've got the corners. So I wouldn't want to leave any corners in there, and I'll run it across the other end as well. And I'll put my knife away. Okay, so we have the next bit of decal, so you can't really see them on the list. You can sort of see some of the lines I've cut there, but it's actually these two here. So I can now take my tweezers and gently pull off the first one. Try to find out I've not quite done the cutting properly. There we go. There we go, that's sorted. Right, now I've got the schematic in front of me, so I know roughly where this needs to go. I'm actually putting it slightly lower than what I've got on the schematic. The schematic was a copy of a different version of a sort of proper decal, and I've just customised it. And I just need to put this in properly. There we go. And take the knife and then start rubbing it down. Okay, so that should be done now. So take the tweezers, gently pull off decal like that, and that's going almost right, except we have a slight air bubble. Now, a few ways we can fix this. Sometimes it's possible just to rub the area with a knife after the incident and fix the problem that way. Like I have done. You do notice sometimes it will stretch slightly, but that's not too much of an issue, provided you're careful. There we go. Okay, so we've done that. That's on the pile of rubbish. Okay, and then we've done that one. So we'll do the next one now. So just need to do a bit more cutting on this one. I haven't quite done that correctly. Pull this back up. Okay, Okay, so I've got the decal again, and I just need to align this with decal. Making sure it aligns not only with the text on the opposite transfer, but also with the tile as well, like that. Knife and just need to rub that up and down, and then to the outer edge, and just run that a bit vertically. And again, these ones I'm doing are really text heavy and fine text heavy at that, so you do need to be a little more careful with the decal to ensure it adheres properly, because otherwise you can have a few issues. So there we go, decal's been applied. You can sort of see the sort of backing sheet a bit easier on this one, so I can actually start pulling this off, and there we go, and it's now free. There's not too much, just seems to be a bit of an issue that side, which I'm trying. Okay, and there we go. So now we have both sets of decals for one side of the hopper done. And it just works in a very similar way for large decals as well. Although obviously with the large decal you might be better off using something like a ruler. That's what I certainly did for the Pennsylvania boxcar, I should say, almost hopper. The boxcar actually used a ruler and used the end of the ruler to put down the big sort of like Keystone Pennsylvania name for that, just because it makes it a lot easier to actually navigate and make it easier to push it down. So that's effectively it as far as what I'm going to do for the live stream. We're going to put on some more of the decals, so I'll do that off camera, but effectively that's it for this little bit of activity for today, and obviously I'll see you in some videos coming up. If I'm well enough, I'm probably going to go to the show tomorrow on Sunday, if I can make it. Otherwise, you know, it's a shame, but unfortunately illness happens. So that's it, and see you later.